Uganda has ordered a nationwide internet shutdown just 2 days before voters head to the polls, a move human rights groups say threatens access to information and undermines the transparency of the electoral process. The directive from the Uganda Communications Commission comes amid heightened security measures as Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni seeks to extend his more than 4-decade rule. The shutdown coincides with reports of arrests of opposition supporters in an expanded military presence across the country, developments that rights advocates warn violate freedom of expression, assembly, and the right to participate in public affairs without intimidation.
Effective 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 13th, 2025, just 2 days to the Uganda general election, the Uganda Communications Commission ordered all licensed mobile network operators and related service providers in the country to suspend public internet access and outbound data roaming services to one network area countries. The regulator has blocked access to social media platforms, web browsing, video streaming, personal emails, and messaging apps. The suspension applies to mobile broadband, fiber optic, and satellite internet services, among others, leaving most citizens cut off from online communication. The government has also suspended the sale and registration of new SIM cards. SIM swaps and SIM upgrades will, however, be allowed within existing regulations. Operators have also been instructed to disable mobile virtual private networks on their networks. Uganda Communications Commission Executive Director Nyombi Tembo stated that the move is aimed at safeguarding national security and maintaining public order during the electoral process by mitigating the spread of misinformation and electoral fraud. Several entities were, however, excluded from the directive. Authorized personnel will be allowed to access the internet during the voting period through a secure whitelisted mechanism. These include essential public services such as healthcare, financial services, administrative services, transportation, and aviation control systems. The internet shutdown, which remains in place until further notice, comes amid reports of arrests of opposition supporters and human rights activists in the midst of a heightened military presence across the country. As Uganda prepares to head to the polls, rights activists are raising alarm over the state of the country's general election.
People power! People power!
At a joint press conference in Nairobi, the Africans for Africa Solidarity Movement accused President Yoweri Museveni's government of systematically suppressing political dissent, saying the vote is taking place under intimidation and coercion. Among those speaking were Kenyan activists Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo, who were abducted while attending an opposition rally in Uganda in the year 2025 and held for 38 days without due process. They have since filed a petition against the Ugandan government, arguing their detention reflects a rapidly shrinking democratic space ahead of the polls.
Ideally, elections are supposed to be held in an environment that is conducive to a free, fair, credible, transparent, verifiable, accountable election so that the sovereign will of the people can be exercised. The Electoral Commission, led by Justice Simon Mugenyi Byabakama, has managed the affairs of the Commission in a manner that strongly suggests that he is a puppet of the ruling elite.
The progress of Uganda has been stifled by systematic corruption, has been stifled by suppression of human rights in Uganda, as my colleagues had already said. There is no freedom simply because he has had to do with limits or do with things that will keep him in power for all this time.
Their claims mirror warnings from the United Nations Human Rights Office, which says the election is unfolding in an atmosphere of repression, with arrests, harassment, and restrictions on civil society. President Museveni, now 81, has ruled Uganda since 1986 and is seeking to extend his time in power in a rematch against opposition leader Bobi Wine. With a predominantly young population watching closely, Critics say the coming vote will be a defining test for democracy in the East African nation.
People power.
Our power.
Lillian Muli, Citizen TV.
Our power.
Across the borders, to a story compiled by John Jacob Curia, the Ugandan government has ordered for an indefinite temporary shutdown of public internet access and selected mobile services beginning this evening ahead of its general election slated for Thursday. The Uganda Communication Commission's directive is expected to affect access to the internet, registration of new SIM cards and data roaming services. This even as a section of human rights activists raised concerns over what they describe as a shrinking democratic space ahead of the elections.
36 hours before Uganda heads to the polls, that has attracted the interest of 8 candidates, including incumbent President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his arch-rival Robert Chagulanyi, popularly known as Bobby Wine. The Ugandan authorities appear to have taken a drastic move in what it says will stem the spread of misinformation, disinformation, electoral fraud, and incitement to violence. The Uganda Communications Commission, in a statement, says internet access, new SIM card registration, and data roaming will be temporarily restricted beginning Tuesday evening. The Commission, in its directive, targets social media platforms, web browsing, video streaming, personal email services, and messaging applications. Operators have also been directed to disable mobile virtual private networks or VPN services on their networks. Healthcare services, banking services, government systems, and other essential services providers have, however, been spared from the directive. The shutdown will continue until the Commission issues a notice lifting the order. In the meantime, a section of activists claim the anticipated election will not be credible owing to shrinking democratic space. Speaking in Nairobi under the banner of Africans for Africa, the activists accused the Justice Simon Mugenyi, the Abakama-led Electoral Commission, of bias, intimidation of opposition candidates, and facilitating an environment that undermines free and fair elections.
Main organizations were denied accreditation for monitoring the elections. A lot of organizations have been banned. The other political contenders that were in the race, most of them have been treated unfairly.
When you look at even in Kampala right now, in major towns, the UPDF has taken over. In fact, the Electoral Commission is not in charge. It's the police, it's the military.
The Electoral Commission has repeatedly denominated candidates of the opposition party from the nomination list, hence giving an unfair advantage to the NRM candidates, some going unopposed.
John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.